G'day guys, what's cracking? Ralph here. So a little while ago I made a video about interval shooting on the Nikon Z series camera, and the challenge you have with the Z cameras is the interval timing is kind of all stuffed up. So you have to add extra seconds and you have to add buffer seconds for it to work effectively. So what I decided to do, because of a tip that one of you guys gave me, was actually do a rerun test with the Z8 to see if they fixed any of those things. So usually you have to do interval, you have to set your interval, you have to set it 32 seconds for every 30 seconds, and then you have to leave a second for the camera to recover. So what we're going to do with this experiment is I'm going to set it for 8 seconds on this view with these settings. So I'm shooting at f1.8. My ISO is 640. If I go to photo shooting memory, I go up to interval timer shooting, and I'm going to choose today. We're going to set the interval, instead of at 0.5, we're going to set the interval at 8 seconds. So we're just going to trust that what it says is what you get. Then we get to choose how many shots we have. So if I start shooting now, we finish at 10:24. So let's go 10:51, 11:05. Are we up for a late one? All right, let's do it just for you guys. And the idea is if we get to 11 o'clock and it shoots 301, then there's no issue at all with the interval timer. It's really straightforward. And otherwise you have to revert back to my previous video. Let's go and let's start and see how we go. Ready to rumble. Okay, I want to show you something weird, right? It's an 8-second timer. You can't see this, but this is the back of my camera. Listen to the sounds and the lights and count the seconds. Ready? What the heck is all that about? I guess we'll find out well before 11 o'clock. That was a fascinating experiment. At 8 seconds, it pulled up well before 11:05. It was actually 10:50 when it gave up. It took 151 shots of the 301 shots it should have taken. See, it ended prematurely, but it also took half the photos that it was supposed to take. And it did this interesting interval timer pantomime with the big gaps in between, which already is an epic fail. So what happens is it starts off by taking this shot. That's an 8-second exposure. It then takes 6 seconds to process that exposure, and then it takes 1 second to calm down and get ready for the next, and then the pattern repeats itself. So it was really quite strange, and I wondered if that was particular to a slower shutter speed, and so I then increased and I did 30 seconds. As you can see from the screen, it was 30-second exposure with an interval of 30 seconds. There were 30 shots and it was supposed to finish at 11:30. The results, well, about as stunning as the first lot. If I pull up my camera, I will notice that it took 16 shots in that time and finished dismally short of the expected time frame to take those shots. The results on the 30-second exposure were just kind of crazy. So as I said earlier on the video, 30 seconds is 32 seconds. That remains. So at 32 seconds, and then I was a second late, so it was actually 2 seconds. And then we go to exposures for 23 seconds, which is 24. So it's 32, 2 seconds, 24 seconds, 2 seconds, 32 seconds, 1 second, 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 and then I gave up. What is going on? And why on earth isn't this straightforward, and won't this work even on their brand new flagship camera? The timing is ridiculous. I don't understand the timing, do you? But here's what gets me. You can't buy a Nikon Z series camera with adequate confidence that the interval and time-lapse setting on it is going to do exactly what you think it's going to do. You have to learn, which is why I've made another video about that. But the really disappointing thing is I would not use this camera and would not recommend this camera for any form of time-lapse or star trail photography at all. It's much better to get yourself a Fuji, cannot believe I'm saying this, or what are they, Luminex? Is that it? Luminex? I know you hear so little about them, but apparently they're really good time-lapse cameras. Or get an external intervalometer that you can attach to your camera to get the job done. Just disappointing that they don't have the internal goods to deliver on that. Not even with the Z8 with the latest firmware updates. Thought this will be helpful to keep you in the loop, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.